My name is George. When I look around me, the trees behind me, for instance, the bushes, the flowers, it's all God's creation. And there are people who argue evolution and they can never explain how it got started because they always start with something. And how did the something come into being? And then there's something before that. It's all God's creation. God spoke everything into existence. And God's creation was wonderful. And that was before the fall, bore Adam and Eve committed the sin. Adam knew what he was doing, so he was guilty. Eve was deceived by the devil. But Adam knew what he was doing, and creation became marred, and they were cast out of the garden. So if creation looks good now, what was it like then when it was perfect? And God was in communication with Adam. God walked in the garden, God spoke to him, and Adam heard. Now God communicates through the Bible, and we should come to grips with the Bible, and not just because people say, oh, the Bible says that, and we just believe it. We've got to check it out for ourselves. I find an awful lot of things that people think are in the Bible are in fact corruptions of what it says and misrepresentations of what it says. But people believe it because somebody in a pulpit said so, or somebody on a so-called Christian channel said so, or a so-called Christian wrote a book about it and misrepresented what the Bible says. But creation, and it is creation, not evolution. I've never come across anyone who can explain to me how it started. I can explain it because it's recorded in Genesis and God created everything. And I've got no problem in believing that God created everything in 6 days. Evolution is really all about denying God and His truth. That is the aim of evolution. It's about trying to divert you. And people say, oh, many Christians believe in evolution. And I don't deny it's true that many Christians do because they believe the lie. They have adapted the theory of evolution, and it's a theory, not a scientific fact. They've adapted that because they believed it, because somebody at school taught them that. And it's just not true. They've adapted it and they say, well, a day is not a day, it's just X number of thousands of years. I got that at school. And when people are debating Christians, they ignore the fact that we Christians also went to school and we got fed the same rubbish at school. You know, they treat us as though we're ignorant about so-called science. We were taught science, we were taught evolution, and we were also taught that there is such a thing as creation when we went to our Bible studies and our churches. And at least when I was at school, they were much more honest than they are now, and said it's the theory of evolution, not the fact of evolution. Evolution is not a fact. And you will look at the records, the fossils, and I know people who study fossils and they're Christians. This idea that all scientists are evolutionists is rubbish, because I've met scientists who go around telling people about creation, and it was Christians who created science as we understand it. So there are people who are scientists who will tell you that everything is created, and what we do in our science is we are observing God's creation. And isn't it marvelous?